How's it going, everybody? My name is LuckyBunz. In today's video, we're going to be going over the best tips and tricks to get you guys ready for the Hisui Celebration event in Pokémon GO. This event is going to be part 1 of the Ultra Unlock for Pokémon GO Fest, so we are actually going to have 2 more amazing events following this. But with that being said, we got a lot to get through in this one, so let's just go ahead and jump straight into it. Okay, so first of all, this event is going to be taking place from July 8th at 10 AM to July 13th at 8 PM local time. We're going to have the amazing bonuses of 4x catch experience and 4x catch Stardust, along with the boosted shiny rate on Hisuian Voltorb, Hisuian Qwilfish, and then shiny Unknown U from raid battles. To my knowledge, the shiny rate is going to be 1 out of 64 on these specific Pokemon, and then also for shiny Unknown U, that's going to be 1 out of 64 in raid battles. So actually pretty good odds. Now on top of that, space-time anomalies are also going to be returning during this event, and if you're not really sure what these are, let me explain. So space-time anomalies originated from the Legends Arceus main series game, and the first time we actually saw them in Pokemon GO was during the Sinnoh event, specifically during the last 30 minutes of the hour. Basically, the skybox would turn purple and the spawns for the Hisuian Pokemon would actually be boosted. Now, unfortunately, there was no mention of how these would actually be implemented during this event, but I'm hoping it's at least somewhat structured again, like the last 30 minutes of the hour. Now, additionally, on top of that, we're also going to get the debut of Zorua in its Hisuian form during this event, which will evolve for 50 candy, and this is going to take on the dual typing of normal and ghost, so actually pretty awesome. Now, similar to the normal Zorua, which will actually appear as your buddy on the overworld map, I'm pretty confident these are going to be the exact same way. It was kind of like this in Legends Arceus, so I don't think there's really going to be any difference in terms of that. But, fair warning, if you have like a Galarian bird as your buddy, I would probably remove that for this event so you don't accidentally get fooled. In the past, when we actually had Zorua featured during certain events, just a regular one, I've seen some people use their Master Ball not even realizing it was Zorua disguised because they thought it was a Galarian bird or like another Galarian bird in the wild, and turns out it was not. If you guys have friends who play more casually and don't really watch videos like this, please let them know as well, because this is something that they definitely want to avoid. Now with that being said, how is the evolution? Is it actually meta relevant, or is it something you want to not really pay attention to? So in terms of the raid/gym meta, Hisuian Zoroark is going to be slightly worse than regular Gengar, so it's not really the best Pokemon to invest into for that meta. Now in terms of PvP, the rankings have not been updated on PvPoke just yet, but I will update the pinned comment down below once they are. Next up, let's go over the featured Pokemon during this event. So first up we have the wild encounters, so we're going to get access to Zubat, Hisuian Voltorb, Magikarp, Hisuian Qwilfish, Starly, Croagunk, Petalil, Hisuian Zorua, Rufflet, Bergmite, and then for the rare encounters, we're going to get Sneasel, Larvitar, and Bagon. We're also going to get field research tasks during this event, which can get you some more encounters with event-themed Pokemon, so make sure to pay attention to those. Hopefully they're not too difficult. And then we're also going to get a collection challenge, which is going to be focused on the space-time anomaly Pokemon that I mentioned earlier. And then this is going to get you some Stardust experience and then also an encounter with Hisuian Zorua. Following that, in 1-star raid battles, we're going to get Hisuian Growlithe, Unknown U, Hisuian Sneasel, and then in 3-star raids, we're going to get Hisuian Braviary, Hisuian Avalugg, Wire Deer, and then Cleavor. Now with that being said, all these Pokemon are actually going to have a boosted shiny rate of 1 out of 64, so if you are still missing any of them, it might be worth doing. Next up, when it comes down to legendary raid battles, we're going to get Solgaleo until the 14th of July, and then over the weekend, we're going to get access to Shadow Registeel. There's also going to be a raid hour for Solgaleo on Wednesday, the 9th of July, so keep that in mind if you guys want to actually get these done with a big group. Next up, in terms of Mega Raids, we're going to get access to Mega Charizard X until the 14th as well. Then finally, in Max Battles, we're going to get access to Dynamax Ghastly as the featured Pokemon. There are going to be other Dynamax Pokemon featured during this event in Max Battles, but they never really mention which ones those are. That pretty much covers all the featured Pokemon, but keep in mind that not everything I just mentioned is going to be worth paying attention to, but we'll cover the best Pokemon you actually want to hunt later on in the video. Before we actually get to that though, I do want to take a look at some of the overlapping events that are going to be taking place during this event. The first one is going to be Spotlight Hour on the 8th, which is going to feature Voltorb and Hisuian Voltorb with the special bonus of 2x catch experience. So basically, to start things off, one evolved to Hisuian Electrode. This is going to rank in the top 150 for the Open Great League. Regular Electrode does have some play in some like niche cups for the Open Great League, so it might be worth picking up a good IV spread for that as well. But outside of that, I think the main reason to play this Spotlight Hour is going to be for the boosted spawns with 4x catch experience from the main event bonus. Now unfortunately, the 2x catch experience Spotlight Hour bonus is not going to stack with the event bonus of 4x catch experience, but you can still double your experience with a Lucky Egg for 8x catch experience during the entirety of the event. So that means for every single Excellent Throw you land on Voltorb, you're going to get 8,000 experience, which is actually kind of crazy. Also, Voltorb isn't actually too bad. It's a decent one to hit Excellent Throws on, so definitely doable if you want to grind that one out. I would also recommend using Spatial Rend during this Spotlight Hour to increase your spawn radius for even more spawns, and that's going to be the best way to really maximize your Lucky Egg and get the most spawns with like the least amount of downtime. Now over the weekend on July 12th, we're going to have the raid day for Hisuian Lilligant, which is actually going to be the debut of that form specifically, and this event is going to be taking place from 2 to 5 PM local time. Now this Pokemon Pokemon, it actually takes on the dual typing of Grass and Fighting, which is actually kind of cool. Kind of similar to Breloom, so I don't really know if it's going to be any good in PvP or even for raid battles. Probably not, but I think the main appeal of this event is going to be those 5 additional free orange passes you guys can use, the boosted shiny rate of 1 out of 10. The remote raid pass limit is also going to be increased to 20 during this event, but I don't really think this Pokemon is like worth going crazy hard for, but I guess I'll leave that up to you guys. There's also going to be a $5 event ticket, which is going to get you 8 additional orange passes to use during the event, increased chance to get Rare Candy XL, 1.5 times raid experience, and then 2 times raid Stardust. So I think overall this event is definitely going to be geared towards using your free passes mostly. If you actually want to go hard for this Pokemon, then definitely buy the $5 event ticket to get those extra raid passes. It's definitely going to be worth its value, plus the additional bonuses. I think when it comes down to it, it really just depends on how bad you actually want that shiny. Now with those overlapping events out of the way, let's take a look at the best Pokemon you actually want to focus on during this event. So first up, we're going to have Hisuian Voltorb, which is going to be shiny boosted at 1 out of 64. So apparently most of the Hisuian Pokemon are actually just perma boosted normally. However, for Voltorb, this is actually one exception for some reason. I read that somewhere. I'll probably put the source in the description down below so you guys can check that for yourself, but I did think that was actually kind of interesting. Now, like I mentioned earlier as well, when you evolve this into Hisuian Electrode, this is going to rank in the top 150 for the Open Great League. And also, fun fact for those of you who didn't know this, Hisuian Voltorb is going to pick up the typing of Electric and Grass. Next up, we're going to have Magikarp, which evolves into Gyarados. This will cost 400 candy for the evolution, and if you're like a new/returning player, you definitely want to Pineapple Berry every single one of these that you actually see. In terms of meta relevance for Gyarados, this will rank in the top 50 for the Open Master League, which is actually pretty good. And then when it comes down to Gyarados as a Mega Evolution, it's actually pretty good to use as a Water type attacker or as a Dark type attacker. But in terms of regular Gyarados, I probably wouldn't use it as a Water type. You just have way better options out there these days. Following that, we're going to have Hisuian Quillfish, which is going to be shiny boosted as well. I like to call this one Goth Quill, and this was also going to evolve into Overquill, which is actually decent to use as a Poison type attacker for the raid/gym meta. So if you happen to get this and you don't really have that many good poison types, maybe it's worth taking a level 30. That being said though, when it comes down to the evolution requirement, I believe it's like win 7 raids or win 10 raids, so it's definitely not one you want to build multiple of unless you're just going for the shiny or hundo sets. Next up, we're going to have Starly, which evolves into Staraptor. This is going to be good to use as a budget raid attacker for the flying type category. We're also going to have Krogan, which evolves into Toxicroak. This will be relevant in the top 80 for the Open Ultra League, so definitely a good Pokemon to build. Next up, we're going to have Rufflet, which evolves into Braviary, another really good option to use as a budget flying type attacker in the raid/gym meta. I actually think this one is better than Staraptor just because it's a 50 candy evolution, so if you happen to catch a really high level Rufflet in the wild, you can just evolve it and then just use it as a flying type attacker temporarily until you get better options out there. But honestly, when it comes down to the flying type category, some of the better options are actually really difficult to get. Like Moltres with Sky Attack, Shadow Moltres with Sky Attack, you have Veltal, Rayquaza with Dragon Ascent. So when it comes down to it, Braviary might actually be one of your best flying types for a long time until you get access to those. Next up, we're going to have Sneasel, which is going to have the Perma Shiny boost of 1 out of 64. So definitely a good Pokemon to shiny check during this event. I actually have way too many shiny Sneasels, so I'm a little bit over it, but if you guys don't, I mean, it's going to be pretty fun to get those shinies. Now, additionally, when you evolve Sneasel into Weavile, it's going to be pretty good to use as a raid attacker for the Ice type category as well as a Dark type category. Now, I wouldn't necessarily call this one a budget attacker because it is going to cost 100 candy plus a Sinnoh Stone to evolve, so that can be kind of a tough requirement, but overall, I think if you don't have many good Ice types or many good Dark types, it is worth building at least a few of these if you can. Taking a look at our next rare spawn, we're going to have Larvitar, which evolves all the way up into Tyranitar. This Pokemon is still really good to use as a Dark type attacker just in its non-mega form, so every single time you see one of these, make sure to Pineapple Berry it. I cannot stress that enough. Also, as a Mega Evolution, it is the best Dark type attacker in the game and the best Rock type attacker in the game. Also, when it comes down to the Shadow form for Tyranitar, it's actually extremely good to use. I use my Shadow Tyranitar all the time when it comes down to rocket battles because with Bite, that is a really, really spammy fast move. So you're going to annihilate anything that's going to be weak to Dark type Pokemon. Next up, we're going to have Bagon, which evolves into Salamence. It's going to be great to use as a Dragon type in terms of the Mega Evolution. The regular Salamence is still good as a Dragon type, but you also have the Shadow variant, which is actually much better to use. I have one powered up at level 50, which I use all the time. In raid battles, in rocket battles, it is phenomenal. So whether or not you want to actually invest into that Mega Evolution, that's perfectly fine. But just like Larvitar, I would strongly encourage you to Pineapple Berry every single one of these you guys do happen to see in the wild, because you will want to have a bunch of candy for that Shadow if you eventually get a good IV spread. Next up, like I talked about earlier with the 1-star and 3-star raids, they're all going to be shiny boosted at 1 out of 64, so if you are missing any of those shinies, it might be worth using your free passes on them. That being said though, we also have Solgaleo in 5-star raids. This is going to be the first time Solgaleo is going to be available in raids in Pokemon GO like ever, so it's a pretty big deal. Previously, the only way to actually get it is from evolving Cosmog, and those were only released a few times in Pokemon GO. Now overall, in terms of meta relevance, Solgaleo really shines in the Open Master League. It currently ranks at number 4, which is even better than its fusion form, Duskmane Necrozma. Now sadly, the shiny isn't going to be available during this rotation for Solgaleo, but it's still going to be a really important Pokemon to farm, even if you don't care about PvP, because you do need to have extras for your Necrozma fusions. When it comes down to fusing together Necrozma and Solgaleo to get Duskmane, everything is going to be based on the IVs for Necrozma, so it doesn't really matter what IVs you actually got on your Solgaleo. So if you have a bunch of like really bad IVs, you can just keep them like that. And if you happen to get the Hundo, then you can consider actually powering that one up for the Open Master League. Now over the weekend, we're also going to have access to Shadow Registeel, which is going to be a pretty good Pokemon to pick up for the Open Ultra League. Ranks at the top 100 right now in the Shadow form. Its regular counterpart actually ranks in the top 30. So you could also Purify it if you really want to, but at the same time, I don't know if I'd really do that. I'd probably just keep it as a Shadow Registeel. Now sadly for Registeel, it is going to require the Legacy moveset Zap Cannon, which does mean you have to use an Elite Charge Stamp to get it. But I think for most players out there, they're probably going to be focused on the potential for the Shadow Shiny Registeel, because that's really rare to get. And then finally, when it comes down to the Mega Raid pool, we're going to get access to Mega Charizard X, which is actually the best Fire-type attacker in the game is Mega Charizard Y, which you can't actually use despite this specifically being the X form. So when it comes down to it, I would definitely farm extra energy on this if you can, because it is one of my most used Mega Pokemon in Pokemon GO. I've used Mega Charizard Y to solo certain legendary raid bosses, and I've also used both the X and Y forms for candy farming. Mega Charizard Y takes on the dual typing of Fire and Flying, while Mega Charizard X takes on the dual typing of Fire and Dragon. So we just went over a bunch of really good Pokemon to pay attention to, but what's going to be the best Mega Evolution to have active during this event for candy farming bonuses? So when it comes down to it, I think the top two are going to be Mega Abomasnow and Mega Charizard Y. For Mega Abomasnow, this is going to cover Hisuian Voltorb, Petalil, Bergmite, Sneasel, and then Avalugg. And then for Mega Charizard Y, this is going to cover Zubat, Starly, Rufflet, Braviary, Growlithe, and then Charizard. So in terms of covering the most typings, those two are going to be the best, but if you actually want to focus on different Pokemon, these Mega Evolutions might be better off for you. So with that being said, the next one is going to be Mega Gengar, which is going to cover Zubat, Quillfish, Croagunk, and Zorua. Mega Tyranitar is going to cover Larvitar, Hisuian Avalugg, Quillfish, and Sneasel. Mega Lopunny is going to cover Starly, Rufflet, Hisuian Zorua, and then Croagunk. And then finally, Mega Latios or Mega Latios is going to cover Bagon and Solgaleo. So if you do have any of these at Mega Level 3, I would prioritize that over the others for increased candy and extra large candy. Otherwise, if you just want to focus on like a very specific type of Pokemon like Zorua or Solgaleo, I would just go with your highest level Mega for that typing. Personally speaking, I think I'm probably going to alternate between Mega Latios and Mega Latios for the Solgaleo candy, and then also Mega Lopunny or Mega Gengar for the Zorua candy. Next up, let's talk about using Star Pieces and Lucky Eggs. So obviously, if you guys have been holding on to these, this is going to be one of the best times you can use them in game. We only get these 4 times bonuses during the Ultra Unlock events over summer. Otherwise, the highest multiplier caps around 3 times during calm days. So ideally during this event, you do want to be running Lucky Eggs and Star Pieces during your grind sessions, especially if you're going to be grinding hard. Even if you don't have these on hand though, you can still take advantage of those standard bonuses, but it is strongly recommended to at least grab some Lucky Eggs for the insane experience gains. If you actually lock in and focus with the Fast Catch trick, you can easily clear over 1 million experience per hour. I am not underselling that either. Like, the Excellent Throw is 8,000 experience per Excellent Throw, plus all the other catching bonuses you're going to be getting. Dude, even if you don't want to use a Lucky Egg, you can still clear over 500,000 experience per hour, so it's seriously just insane. Now additionally, on top of that, if you already made it past rank 25 for the Go Pass for July, you're going to be getting 1.5 times experience for friendship bonuses. So while you're out grinding those Excellent Throws for experience, don't forget to redeem these as well to really maximize those Lucky Eggs. Normally when you hit best friends with somebody, you're going to get 200,000 experience with a Lucky Egg active, but right now with this bonus, you're going to get 300,000 experience. Once again, you have to make it past rank 25 in the Go Pass to unlock this, and it's available for everybody, it's not the paid version. Now finally, let's talk about the Stardust, okay? Because the Stardust during this event, I'm excited as you guys can tell already. So you're going to get 400 Stardust for the base catch, 600 Stardust for the Star Piece, and then 750 Stardust for the Star Piece plus a Weather Boost during this event. This means that for every 100 Pokemon you catch, you're going to get 40,000 Stardust without even having a Star Piece active. And that is just going to be normal Pokemon, right? There's also going to be Stardust boosted Pokemon like Meowth, Combee, Chimecho, Audino, and many others that are going to award you tons of Stardust per catch. We've actually had a few events in the past few months, I would say, where some of these Stardust boosted Pokemon were featured in field research quests. And so if you listen to my advice on the channel here, and you actually stacked these, you're gonna want to redeem these during this event. I mean, you really want to cash in on them. Now, if you happen to encounter the Hatch and Egg task during this event, this can also get you an encounter with the Stardust boosted Pokemon like Trubbish, Chimecho, or even Audino. And on top of that, Combee and Audino can actually nest. So if you can actually find these local nests, you can grind out some insane Stardust. Specifically looking at Audino, which awards the most Stardust at 2100 per catch during non-events, this means during this event it's going to be 8,400 Stardust per catch. 12,600 Stardust per catch with the Star Piece active. If you have the weather bonus, that's even more. So if you're able to find a local Audino nest during this event, just know, the Stardust you're going to get from farming that for an entire day, it can easily top over 1 million without even putting too much effort. I mean, again, 12,600 with a Star Piece per catch. Now, I will say, fair warning, Audino is going to be a very difficult Pokemon to catch. So if you guys do actually have some Golden Raspberries saved up, I personally do after GoFest, hopefully some of you guys do as well, definitely make sure to use them on Audino and make your life a lot easier. But with that being said, if you guys don't actually have an Audino nest near you, don't worry about it too much. It's still going to be a great event to play for those Stardust and experience gains. Otherwise though, that's pretty much everything I have for you guys in this video. I'm wishing you the best of luck out there. Seriously, go and get that Stardust, go and get that experience, and if you guys do want to check out some other videos in the meantime, I'm going to recommend these two right here.